Hey guys, and welcome back. It's Grant Broggi from Strength Coach. Actually, it's Grant, Waylon, and Calhoun. And today, we're going to talk about 5 mistakes you're doing in the press. If you like the video, like and subscribe to the channel. Press that subscribe button. Last week, we released a video called 5 Common Mistakes in the Squat. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. A lot of people thought it was really helpful. So I figured, hey, keep it going. If that helped you in the squat, maybe we can teach you some things that will help you in the press. Now, first you might be asking yourself, Grant, the press, what are you talking about? Are you talking about the strict press, the shoulder press, the military press, the standing press, the Olympic press, the press 2.0, the press 1.5? Today, we're just talking about the press, or what I could best describe to you would be the strict standing press. We'll probably touch on some topics of the other ones, but today I want to give you the 5 things that I see that people do wrong when they're learning the basic standard overhead shoulder. See, now even I'm messing it up. When they're learning the press. And if you can fix them in a regular, original, I can't even get these words right, in a press, then they will carry over into other things you are doing, such as a push press, a press 2.0, etc. So, problem number 1 that I see in the press all the time is the grip. Most people that are beginning to press have probably bench pressed before because everyone's bench pressed, you know what I mean? And so the first thing that we often see as a mistake is the grip width on the barbell. A lot of people grip the bar too wide. They're used to laying down on a bench press, widening up their hands so that when they bring the bar down to the chest, the forearm is vertical. And they've just ingrained that bench press width grip into their heads so that when they go to do a standing press, they grab the bar much too wide. Now, I could nerd out on you about physics and the stuff we talk about in here of moment arms and all that stuff of how if your wrist gets too far out of your elbow, a moment arm is created and you're less efficient. But I'm just going to give it to you in plain speak, homeschool talk. If you want to press the most weight, you want the bar stacked right above your elbow. You don't want it out here and you don't want it in here. You want a vertical forearm. If you do that, you'll be able to press the most weight. Not to mention, if you grip the bar too wide and you're a guy with shoulder issues or a gal with shoulder issues, you can find that that can irritate the rotator cuff. So grip the bar where your hand is directly above your elbow. For most guys, that's going to be right at the edge of the knurling, where the knurling meets the smooth part, or maybe an inch, maybe 2 inches if you're like half Thor. Yeah, I've met him. Or someone gigantic. But most people, the inside of their hand right here is going to be right on the edge of the knurling. The second part of the grip that I see people mess up all the time is where the bar is in the hands. Most people, when they walk up to the bar, yes, I have a little miniature barbell here for explanations and demonstrations, grab the bar up high in the palm just because they want to get their fingers all the way around it and it seems natural. And when they do that, they take a grip like this. When they take the bar out, the bar ends up back here behind their wrist with their hand in a whole bunch, or their wrist rather, in a whole bunch of extension. So when you grip the bar, don't grip it with your fingers, rather put it down in the base of your palm. When we put the bar in the base of the palm, the wrist will now be neutral when you walk it out. Instead of being bent way back like this, the bar will sit directly over the forearm bone and the knuckles will almost be facing the ceiling. You don't need to be in flexion this way to make that happen. What you want to focus on is the bar sitting right over the forearm bone. When you get into that position, you'll be in the best position to transmit force when you go to press the bar. Now, in order to get the bar down in the bottom of your palm, you're going to have to angle your hand a little bit. So when you walk up to the bar, you're going to find that spot in the knurling that you're supposed to meet, and then you're just going to tilt your hand or turn your thumb towards the deck, as I like to tell the Marines. And what that does is it gets it down to the base of the palm. Now from here, we go into problem number 2, which is unracking the bar. I can see you now. You're walking into the gym. Grant's right. I've been gripping the bar like this. I need to fix it. His cat is cute. Why not? I'll give it a try. I've been too wide too in my grip. So you walk up to the bar, you put your wrist right over your elbow when you grab the bar, you tilt your hand down, thumbs towards the deck. You're basically an honorary Marine. You grip the bar, and then what do? You're 2 feet behind the bar, you rotate your shoulder and you take the bar out. And in order to take the bar out of the rack, you put your hand in a whole bunch of extension. So all that stuff you did was just thrown out the window, just gone, done. It doesn't even matter anymore. You're once again in an incorrect position with your wrist bent back, your elbow probably behind the bar, and you're setting yourself up for a bad press. So when we talk about problem number 2 in unracking the bar, what I want you to think about is not using your arms to take it out of the rack. Grant, I'm doing a press. I'm literally holding the bar in my arms. I know, but trust me on this one. Get your grip and then bend your knees and squat down underneath the bar. Don't put your head underneath it. We're not doing a back squat, but get under the bar. And before you take the bar to your rack, make sure that your hand has the bar in the bottom of the palm, your elbows slightly in front of the bar, and that you just stand up with the barbell. You just stand up with the barbell. What does that mean? It means you're not using your arms and rotating the shoulders to get the bar to the rack. You're just standing up and taking a step back. When you do that, you will find yourself with the bar in the bottom of the palm, the elbows in front, and the bar floating somewhere around your sternum. Don't think that the bar has to be touching your chest. The bar position relative to your shoulders and where it's sitting and where it starts all depends on how long your forearm is compared to your humerus. If you've got really long forearms and a short humerus, the bar might sit up here, somewhere around your nose. If you've got really short forearms and a long humerus, then the bar might sit all the way down, touching the delts or the sternum. If you're of normal anthropomorphy, I mean, everyone's normal, you know what I mean, then the bar may sit just beneath the chin. But don't try to force it into some position. Focus on the things that matter. The bar's in the correct position in my hand, my grip width is correct, and I squatted it out of the rack. Wherever the bar may be, it may be. So once you master those 2 things, the next thing that I always see as a mistake is your knees. What are you doing with your knees? And what happens to most people if they're new to this lift is they start bending their knees. Now I can see you right now. Grant, I've seen you press. I watch you on X at Grant SSC. You're throwing your hips around. You're leaning back. I saw that girl once looking like she was about to break her spine with these weird presses. Don't worry about any of that right now. We're talking about the strict press. So if you're learning to press, you want to take the bar out correctly and then brace your knees. Lock your knees out. For my military guys that watch this channel, you know, when you're standing in a parade or you're doing a color guard, they're like, don't lock your knees, you'll pass out. Lock your knees when you do this set. If you go to the gym today and try to incorporate this, let's say you're conservative. Let's say you're not trying to flex on some girl in the gym and you're just trying to go and learn. You take an empty bar out, you do a set of 5, pretty easy. You add 5s to each side, not too bad. You add 10s each side. Rep 1 goes up quick. Rep 2, a little slower. Rep 3, you start to where you're not gonna miss it. So what do? A natural human movement. You do the push press. You bend your knees and you incorporate quad and you generate momentum so that you can lock the bar out overhead. I can hear you now, Grant. You just said natural human movement. I thought we were loading human movements. Isn't that the whole point of this? Yes and no. In this particular instance, we are trying to stress the upper body. Yes, it's a whole body lift because I have to brace my abs. I'm standing up. Force is being applied through my feet down on the floor. It's a nice long kinetic chain. But we're trying to stress the upper body. We're not just squatting and deadlifting so that we can look like a T-Rex body. No, we actually want to have some muscle mass and some strength, more importantly, up top. So what happens when you bend your knees to generate momentum? You incorporate quadricep. There's nothing inherently wrong with that. You may have found yourself, I don't know, in the laundry room, bending your knees to get something heavy up on a top shelf or somewhere in the way you work. It's a normal thing to do. But the reason we don't like to train the push press, I'm not saying it can't be found in a training program. CrossFitters, chill out, everyone relax. I'm saying for new people trying to get strong, the reason that's not the lift we chose is because it's hard to quantify. At 65 pounds, you may bend your knees this much and incorporate this much quadricep. At 70 pounds, you may bend your knees this much and incorporate this much quadricep. You get the idea. So rather than increasing the stress in the places that we want it, we just incorporate more quadriceps. But let me tell you, a 75-pound push press isn't going to put enough stress on your quads compared to your 150-pound squat. What I'm saying is the squat and the deadlift will train your quadriceps. So what do we want to do? We want to focus the stress on the shoulder muscles. So therefore, the knees need to be locked. Quick visit to the Press 2.0. You see starting strength lifters with movement of the hips. Why is that allowed, but I'm not allowed to do a push press? Well, because it's quantifiable. If and only if you've learned how to lock your knees. If you learn how to lock your knees in a strict press, then you incorporate a Press 2.0 in which you thrust the hips forward. The hips can only go so far. If the knees are locked, the back and the stomach and the abdomen is braced. Therefore, I can quantifiably train it. Because the hips can only go so far, I can go up 2.5 pounds. Yes, you're only going to go up 2.5 pounds, buy 1.25 pound plates from our store. And therefore, I can continue to train the muscles that I want. I'm just getting a stretch reflex out of the hips. That's all I'm doing. I'm not incorporating a whole bunch of quads, whereas then there's just a well of quadriceps that I can go into. But don't worry about any of that right now. Right now, focus on learning just the basic, strict, original, standard, whatever you want to call it, press. Which brings me to problem number 4, mistake number 4, the lockout. For most people, when they go to press the bar, it's going to get really sticky and slow as they start to add weight somewhere around their nose to about above their head. And so what a lot of people will do is what I call a soft lockout. They'll get it somewhere where they can't see it anymore, somewhere up there in the heavens, and they'll be like, that's enough, and they go ahead and come down. Don't do that. The lockout is just as important. When you get to the top, you need to have fully extended elbows, and then you need to shrug your traps up. As a matter of fact, after you lock your elbows out and you shrug your traps out, I want you to hang out there for a second. Because you know what? If you're too far forward, your body weight's gonna shift forward and you're gonna wanna fall over. If you're too far backward, your body weight's gonna go backward. We want to finish the bar path right above the shoulder joint, which is right above the middle of the foot. And a big, strong shrug with locked elbows at the top allows this to happen. Because while we like to move barbells in straight lines, when you are doing a strict press, what's happening? You gotta move the bar around your face. So it's gonna have a little bit of curve in the bar. This is one of the reasons we do the Press 2.0 later. Because when you throw your hips, your head comes back and opens up a vertical bar path. But we want to make sure that we got the bar back over midfoot and locked out correctly. So don't do a soft lockout. Big shrug up there, finish it, count to 1,000 when you're first getting started. That'll help you really lock it out and then come down. Which brings us to mistake number 5, your breathing. And everyone seems to screw this up. So get your grip width correct. Get your bar position in your hand, which is a part of your grip, correct. Unrack the bar correctly by getting under it and standing it up out of the rack with your legs. Step back, take a big breath of air in Valsalva and push it up out to lockout. Don't breathe out on the way up. Don't breathe out at the top. Now, there's some things later down the road where you can make the argument to breathe out of the top, take a new breath and get a stretch reflex out of the bottom, but we're not talking about that right now. Get to the top, lock out, and then come down. And when you come down, focus on your elbows being in front of the bar and your back in that starting rack position. Once you get there, exhale, new breath, brace your abs, lock your knees, and thrust the bar up overhead. Thrust isn't a good word. That leads to push pressing. You know what I mean? Press the bar overhead. For new people, and even me to this day, I do all of my breathing at the bottom of the lift. Breathe at the bottom of the lift. It'll help you build a cadence. It'll help you stay in rhythm. Don't get down to the bottom and huff and puff and think about what you're going to eat for lunch. No, get to the bottom, exhale, breathe in, brace again, and press. Don't thrust, don't throw. Press the bar up overhead and shrug. Just like in the squat, we don't want you to walk out 315 pounds and stand there for 30 seconds because that's taxing. Same deal in the press. Your wrists are gonna get tired, your forearms are gonna get tired. Walk the bar out, Valsalva, and press it up. So there you have it, my 5 common mistakes in the press that you can fix today. Later on, once you've mastered these and your press starts failing, you can try to do the press 2.0. We have a video on that you can go watch. We have a few videos on that you can go watch. But learn your grip, learn to unrack it correctly, make sure your knees are staying locked. That's gonna be important later for the press 2.0. Make sure your lockout is correct, big, and exaggerated, and make sure you're breathing correctly. Hope this video helps. If it does, like and subscribe to the channel. Say hi to Waylon, and we'll see you next time.